Good evening and welcome back to the Bird Room. I'm Shane from Direct Bird Products. Quite an action-packed episode today. It's showing you some of the young uns in the flight cages and just a look round the shed in general, and obviously at the end I'll explain the plans in the next coming weeks, months, what I'm going to be doing in the shed. It's a few things that I did through breeding season with certain cages which I'm not too happy about, and I'm going to change them. I'll explain that later on. But yes, today I'm going to show you some of the young Greenfinches, some of the young Fives in these cages, some of the Norwich. We'll look through things, and up in one of the cages up here we still have birds just finishing off, and then that's hopefully, well, it's not hopefully, that is going to be it, because I don't want any more young ones. We've got enough as it is. And also I will be showing some pictures of Mark's birds. He's bred some lovely Greenfinches this year, crossbills, even the mutation blackbirds would be quite interesting to see. Like I said, a bit of everything for everybody. But we'll start off with some questions that I've been asked on the channel in the comments. Most of the questions I've been doing is answering straight back onto the YouTube channel itself, but some of the questions may benefit others that actually watch this anyway. So we'll start with a few of them now. The first question is from Christian Stack. The question says, can chicks get poisoned and die from egg food that spoils? Yes and no, they can. I've had them years and years ago when I was using an egg food called EMP, and I used to wet that down and feed it in the food, and that goes sour quite quickly. It's quite a coarse mix, and chicks in the nest have died as a result of that. It doesn't get poisoned, it just goes sour, and you can imagine what we're like. We don't like food that's gone off and it gives us an upset stomach and things like that. So just imagine that with the birds as well. This question is from Finn Drennan. The question is, what birds can live outside in Ireland all year round without the use of heat? Now, depending on what part of Ireland, obviously some of the rural parts are more open to the elements rather than the inner city parts of Ireland, so it really does depend on certain things. But in general, most of the native birds that obviously live over there would comfortably live in flights. I don't really know anyone that uses any heating systems in flights outdoors anyway. Canaries, definitely, I think they would live in flights, no problem. One thing just to remember, if you are going to do that, introduce them at the right time of year and get them acclimated to the weather throughout the seasons. There's no point in introducing any birds into flights in the midst of winter when it's -3 or 4, because they're going to have a big shock to the system. But I would say, if you're going to do it, get them out this time of year and leave them out through the elements. Just one thing to bear in mind is weather, such as drafts. Drafts in flights kills more birds than cold, wet weather. So I would say most native birds, zebra finches even, some of the foreign finches would. I'm not too sure on exactly what ones, because I don't breed foreign finches, but canaries as well. Your softer canaries, such as your Norwich canaries, maybe not. But definitely new colour type canaries, Fives, Irish fancy canaries, I think they would be perfect in a flight. Next question is from Jenny Reynolds. Hi Jenny. The question was, what are the branches that I hang or did have in my cages? They were conifers, just Leylandii cypress, just normal standard conifers. And if you want to know the reason for them, it was just to offer cover for when I had the Greenfinches or any really British birds, native birds that I'm breeding, just to offer a bit of privacy in the cages. In some of the, well, in actually all the flights I've still got them in at the moment, until I actually get round to taking them out and replacing them, and not more conifer, replace them with other branches that's bird friendly. I'm going through the transition now of obviously cleaning the cages out and getting birds in the cages molting out, but I haven't actually got round to cleaning the flights out yet. I hope that helps you out there, Jenny. Also, you can have the pine branches in there, quite beneficial to birds. The birds will actually peck at the pine resin that's in there, and it does benefit the birds. Question is from Larry Kelly. This question, well, I'll read it out, and it's easy to explain, but I don't know what the idea was. Is it illegal to breed bullfinches? Definitely not. Definitely not illegal to breed bullfinches. It's illegal to capture bullfinches and from obviously the outside and breed them in captivity. Yes. If you're obviously looking to source bullfinches for breeding, just go to any breeder that breeds them, and they will help you out and give you a bit more information on them, or just check out one of our videos that I've done on breeding bullfinches. Bullfinches, to sell and exhibit bullfinches, they do have to be closed rung. The British or native bullfinches are a size D. Also you get the Siberian bullfinches, northern bullfinches, same again, they're not illegal to breed either. But like I said, to sell on or exhibit, they do have to be closed rung. A lot of people seem to think that to keep British birds, that they do have to be closed rung by law. That is not the case. You can actually keep birds that aren't closed rung. I wouldn't advise it, but it's not illegal either. I mean, there is in the past, and I'll explain later on, I've got a siskin over there without a ring on at the moment, but I'll explain that in a second. In the past I've bred Greenfinches, and I've rung them. It goes for any breeder that breeds birds. They know what it's like when it's ringing time. You'll go in and ring them, and you don't want to disturb them as much, so you'll check them, but the hens can take the rings off, or there has been times where I've been too late to ring Greenfinches with them being so big, the exhibition type, that I've just not managed to get the ring on. So rather than damage the bird's foot, I would have left the ring off, which I've done in the past, and I've still got one or two Greenfinch hens, and nowhere near the type that you do see in the wild. They're like a pigeon compared to what we've got, the ones I've got compared to the wild counterparts. And like I said, I've got a siskin over here. This siskin was one that at the beginning of the year I had a spare siskin cock, and one of my friends Dennis called me up and he said, have you got a spare siskin cock? So I loaned it out to him, and he said he would give me some of the chicks back he's bred to. Fair deal to him. He bought me one of the young ones back. There's no ring on it. It makes no odds to me because I'll still be keeping it. It is a mutation one anyway. But one thing to bear in mind, Dennis is not exactly a spring chicken, and he's got arthritis in his hands, so he can't even hold birds, let alone try and ring them. But in any case, I did tell him next time he has a problem, give me a call and I'll go down and ring them for him. But yes, it's definitely not illegal to keep birds without rings on, but like I said, where possible, ring your birds. It just helps everything along the way with the RSPCA or anything like that. Anyone comes asking questions why that's got no ring on, at least you've got a good explanation. It is easy enough to explain when you've only got one or two birds without rings on, but if you've got a shed full of British or native birds without rings on, then it can bring a lot of questions that is not going to be as easy to answer as that. So anyway, I hope that helps you out on the question about is it illegal to breed bullfinches. Last question is from John O'Flanagan. Thanks for watching, John. The question is about goldfinches going to the molt. I think I have answered this previously. I had a similar question asked him about goldfinches or birds going to the molt and what to do. Now, goldfinches usually go in the molt around 6 weeks, same as other birds or canaries. I know certain Birds in the foreign fancy type do have a different molting process, same as your budgies and stuff. Canaries and British native birds, usually around 6 weeks. And the first signs would be feathers everywhere. That is the telltale sign of it. Now, one thing not to do is do not disturb them while they are in the molt. They would 100% guarantee they would drop dead overnight. I've done it myself. In fact, I'll tell you the story of it. I bred some goldfinches. This was about 5 years ago. Goldfinches were in the flight. Only one survived. I took the parents out and I left the young one in. It were a mixed flight. This is at my old place, so the flight was quite big. It came to around, it had finished the molt, so I were in no danger of moving or anything like that, so I thought, right, I'll catch them up. So I went to have a look at them anyway. I got the goldfinch out and it turned out it was a pea throat. And I thought, well, that's quite a bonus, because none of the parent birds had any sign of any pied, if you like, any pied carrying type, so it wouldn't carry pied, or no white toenails or chevril or pea. So it was quite a surprise to me, so I thought, well, that's a bonus. I'll be using that to a cock bird. I'll be using that for mulling for the year after. Got it, put it in a cage. I literally went in the morning after and it was dead. And it just proves that even though it had finished the molt, they stress so easily. And this is one reason that I don't tend to keep goldfinches. I have actually I don't keep secrets, but I did loan a couple of people goldfinches this year. I gave a pair away to a good friend of mine that just wanted them for his aviary, and I did loan a pair out to somebody, and he's managed to breed 4, which I will be getting back. The 4 young ones he will be giving me back in replacement for the adult ones. But it's the same thing. I'm not going to be messing around with moving them anytime soon, because I know for a fact that all the effort that's been put into breeding them, as soon as they get into my place with the stress and stuff, they will just die. So in that scenario, best thing to do is just leave them over winter, and then we'll sort them out at that point then, unless obviously certain circumstances change and I have to get in here sooner. But anyway, that's the question and stuff. So let's move on to some other birds today. In this cage, this is one of the flight cages. I've got a few of the, well, not a few, 4 or 5, maybe 5 or 6 actually, the current year Greenfinches. There's 2 different nest mates in here, 2 different nests of birds. They're not exactly easy to see because they won't stand still at the moment. But these are coming on leaps and bounds actually. Quite happy with the progress of them. Let's see if we can get them over there, look. They're doing okay. The ones in the flight I've not even looked at yet, but in any case I'm quite happy with the results of these. They are on baycocks at the minute. I started the baycocks again last night, obviously a month in. Started them again a month ago, and this is the 2nd day on it today, so it'll be coming off again tomorrow. So 2 days a month on baycocks, it'll do the trick. But yes, so far I'm quite happy with them. This is the same again. This is the flight cage below this, and this has got some of the first round birds in it. Just simply done the same trick and it seems to work. A bit of fresh spinach in there, just washed under the tap, picked literally from outside the door. You can't go wrong with that. I mean, this cage is 6 foot long. I think it's 3 foot high, so it's quite an hefty cage for these young birds to molt out quite nicely. There is 1 or 2 that has actually caught my eye so far, so a few more weeks I'll be able to actually look at them a bit better. In there is a white ground bird, a blue, that seems to have come off. I know where that's come from. It's come from one of the fawn hens that I had. Obviously carrying for white, because fawn is made or comes through cinnamon and white ground birds. Devouring it. Believe it or not, this time tomorrow there'll be no remnants left of that spinach or any green food that I put in there. They seem to have it in no time. It's quite an healthy, a bit of a change to their diet, as well as obviously the soaked seed and egg food. It's a quick shot of some of the Norwich that's in these cages just molting out. These are the hen birds in this cage. Let's see if we can pan round and show you some. They're all on Careful Orange, so they should start molting out quite nicely. Just to take a look at some of the cockbirds. There's actually, well, there's 4 in here, and there's a couple of the cross in there. There's 4 of these that belong to one of my friends that loaned me 4 Norwich cockbirds. Yes, the idea of these perchings, what I've got is I've got a perch up high, a perch low, and a perch again back up high. Try and keep them nice and fit through the molt. This is another one of the flight cages over to the back corner with some of the current year birds, and again I've filled the 2 pots up down on the floor to try and keep them in this side, keep them occupied while I'm doing the filming, and not just that, to keep the noise levels down because they are loud. Especially the cockbirds are still calling to the hen birds, but it's not the time of year for me. This is some more of the second round ones. There is a couple in there that I'm really looking forward to. The one in the middle, you can't really see where it is now, but the one that's just jumped to the back there. I'm looking forward to seeing how these develop over the next few weeks. I think some will make quite decent birds actually. So hopefully we could have some on the show bench later this year. In this cage we've just got the last greenfinch to be finished off. They did pluck the chicks. All I've done is just basically just put a bit of nesting material in there, not to let them go to nest, just to stop them from plucking that young one, because nothing worse than looking at a chick that's been plucked by the adults. But that's the last one of the year for greenfinches, from me anyway. Here is just a young fife that's just finishing off in the nest with, it was a young brown pastel redpoll there. Just stay still for a moment. This hen has been a brilliant feeder. She's actually quite a nice stock bird. Now I'm going to show you a few Mark's birds that he's bred this year. Unfortunately, through breeding season, as with lockdown and everything else, I've not managed to get down there through breeding season, but Mark is coming up here over the next maybe 2 or 3 weeks. We haven't made a date yet. Obviously he's been busy doing his thing. I've been working, getting orders out to all you lovely customers. But yeah, we'll have a quick look at some of his now. We'll start off with one of the current year greenfinches that he sent me on a video. Um, this greenfinch is going to make a lovely bird. Great colour on it. This is just a young picture of his crossbill. I mean, fabulous birds, crossbills, and Mark can breed a few of them if he wanted to. Now this is obviously a nest of bullfinches. Moving on to a couple of his greenfinches. These next pictures are obviously young blackbirds, the mutation ones, and a few more of the young greenfinches. Just have a quick look at them. So that is majority of the young ones that me and Mark have bred this year, and all in all, fair play. I mean, I've bred what I can, Mark's bred what he can, and yeah, I'm quite happy with them. I would have preferred a few brambles, yellow hammers and stuff, but there's always next year. One thing to never rush your birds. But for next year, we'll be doing more mules and hybrids. There's a load to change, but I'll touch on that further on in the videos. There's going to be quite a few changes happening for one reason or another, as it'll come more apparent in the future episodes. So I'm just going to quickly show you just a couple of the birds in the flights. Like I said, I've grouped some together now. Some greeny cocks, greeny hens and stuff like that. I'm not going to show you everyone because that is a bit boring. But over the time, as I'm removing the conifers over the next couple of weeks, I can show you in more depth of the birds because you'll see them in the better surroundings anyway. This is just a shot of some of the adult greenfinch cocks, some of our stock birds, and there is a couple in here that I did show, obviously the last time we did show some brilliant birds in these, so we're looking forward to getting them out with some of the finished molting and have a quick look at them. I've just got a bit of a mixed bunch, a couple of red poles, brambles, and a pair of chaffinches in there, all heavily in the molt. These are all the birds that I'm colour feeding red, so obviously that's why they're all together, grouped together in this flight rather than having greenfinches in here. This flight's got greenfinch hens in, but unfortunately there's quite a bit of cover at this front end. You won't be able to see them all. There's one there, couple down there, and the rest are at this front end. There's two more up this front end, but so's low when you're trying to record them, they won't show. A couple more well, there's three more in this last flight, just molting out nicely. That was just a quick look round at some of the birds in the flights. Now, over the next coming weeks, I'm going to be changing some of the cages, which I'll flip the camera around and show you a picture of it on and why. Basically, I'm going to be building a block of flights over there, flight cages, should I say. They're going to be a metre by about 600, so a metre by 60, something like that in a way. I'll know more when I get the materials. I have already inquired about materials. I've got plenty of the cage fronts. They're going to be same cage fronts I'm using over the back. So basically they're going to replicate that block there, and I'm going to have another block in that corner. The reason for this is the cages that I bred the siskins in, and some of the canaries, didn't find them adequate enough for what I wanted. And with wire cages, they do mess the tails up on the young birds, whereas block ones like these hard-sided ones don't tend to do that. But as I'm doing that, I will, or even when I've done it, I will run through and tell you my thoughts on why I've done them like I have. So that brings us to the end of this episode. I hope you have enjoyed it, and obviously I had a look round at some of the young birds that me and Mark spread this year. But like I said, there is a few changes coming, but I'm not going to explain them just now. And I'll explain why, and obviously when I do the interview with Mark, and he explain things further on from there. Well, yes, thanks very much for watching. Anything you need to do with your bird keeping, whether it's to do with breeding, feeding, everything, we try and cater for all things for birds. That means in all senses, from perchers to drinkers, so on and so on. Check it out on our website, directbirdproducts.com, or head over to Facebook. There is some products being with pictures on there, with some details on, but most of the products now are on the website. So yes, if you haven't already, like and subscribe. Leave us a thumbs up on this video if you have liked it, or any questions, just leave them in the comments below. We'll be back on Wednesday with a short edition again. And before I do leave, I just want to say a massive well done to Oliver Orsiavis for his live feed that he did. It was fantastic, and it's always good to involve others, and I think he did a fantastic job of doing that in the way of people messaging with certain questions, and Oliver can read them out to best to his knowledge anyway, and I think it was brilliant that he'd done that. So well done, Oliver. This is what we need, more interaction and information going out to these new breeders, new keepers to the hobby, and to keep them going, because at the end of the day, without newcomers, this hobby would be done. This Sunday I will be at Carshalton and Wallington Bird Club. The ones that do know it, it's our meeting night, and I will be having bits and bobs down there, seed. If you do want sacks of seed, please order it in advance. I only tend to take ordered sacks down to this one, but we do have smaller bags of special variety seed, your Perilla, wild seed, Nigers, all the smaller tidbits that birds need, as well as an array of certain drinkers and things like that I do take down there, just if anyone's off the odd chance that they need this or that. The postcode for that is SM1 3HH. If you want any more information, just send me a message and I'll pass that on if I can do. Anyway, thanks again. Enjoy the rest of your Friday. And obviously we've got Saturday, we've got Oliver on tomorrow morning. Then what I'm looking forward to is the Canary Room. Matt has been to Bernard Williams filming down there. Bernard's fantastic. His knowledge as well as his bird keeping and breeding over the years is brilliant. So it's nice to actually see it come together as a episode on here. Anyway, well done Matt, well done Oliver, and both of you keep them coming. Stay safe everybody, and see you soon.